Let's revisit our top story of the day. Our Shams Charania reported earlier that four-time All-Star Trae Young has his eyes on the Washington Wizards as his preferred trade destination. Now, Young, he's played his entire 8-year career in Atlanta, but remember, he was not offered an extension when he became eligible at the start of the season. And now we are here with Young eyeing a new partner here in the NBA. So, Shams, why has Young set his sights on the Washington Wizards?
Look, with the Wizards, Trae Young in the nation's capital would become their lead guard of the future. And the Wizards are a franchise that's been in the middle of a rebuild, but their top officials, Michael Winger and Will Dawkins, have looked for an anchor for their young talent. They've got some rising young talented players, and Trae Young himself also has relationships in that organization, specifically with the executive Travis Schlenk that drafted him number 5 overall in 2018, but also Will Dawkins, who's the GM of the Wizards. He was a member of the Oklahoma City Thunder for a long period of time while Trae Young was a star at Oklahoma, as well as David Vanderpool, who served as an assistant with the Thunder as well. But all of these conversations are taking place because Trae Young and the Hawks simply both understand that his fit there is just not long-term moving forward. They had a chance, the Hawks did, to reach an extension in the offseason. They declined to offer Trae Young an extension, and since that point, these sides have remained in conversations about his future, and the Washington Wizards have now emerged as Trae Young's top desired trade destination. Trae Young wants to be a Wizard.
Okay, so certainly a lot of history between the top players here for the Washington Wizards in their front office and Trae Young. Now it's a matter of how this trade is going to materialize, and we will certainly check back in with you for that, Shams. Thank you. And while we're speaking of the trade market, let's talk about Jonathan Kuminga, because the buzz continues to build. The Warriors again at a crossroads here. Kuminga's played less than 10 minutes total since the first week of December. The Warriors, they're in the middle of the pack in the West. They're running out of time to make a decision as the deadline approaches here. So our reporter, Anthony Slater, he covers the Warriors for us, and he joins us now. Slater, I had said that we were going to put the kibosh on Kuminga conversation until there is a real update, but it feels, you're shaking your head. You're saying that's not an option because the Warriors, they're having these conversations. What can you tell us?
We're going to be talking about this until like 2035 or something at this point. But Malika, rival executives are seeing what we're all seeing, which is a 23-year-old young wing buried on the bench as the deadline approaches in a win-now time for the Warriors. And they're saying value must be going down on Jonathan Kuminga. What was available in the summer, which the Warriors didn't deem good enough to trade him, is lessening. The Kings are a good example. They had a protected, first-round pick on the table this summer. They're saying that's not currently on the table. Still interested in Kuminga, but value lessening. And the Warriors are, at least voicing to me that they don't have to trade him. They're exploring all options. They're canvassing the league. My educated guess at this point would be he is traded by the deadline. But if he's not, it's because, the value keeps dwindling. I think there would be many upset figures in this whole situation if he's still here. But they have him under contract for next season. They have a team option. They could trade him in the summer, but the desire still is to do it before the deadline.
Okay, Slater, well, your educated guess is good enough for me because you are one of the most in-the-know people there is on the Golden State Warriors. Since we're talking about this until 2035, I will see you again in 2031. Thank you so much for the update here as we bring it back inside studio. The Warriors, they say that they may not trade Jonathan Kuminga. Are we all good if we just put that over here for right now?
Yeah.
Yes. All right, we're putting that over here for now. The Warriors have a big game tonight. They face the Milwaukee Bucks. They need to get right here. Both of these teams, they need to make a move. Is there one that you think needs to make it more urgently, Shanae?
Oh, man, this is really hard. It's like split decision for me, but I'm going to say the Golden State Warriors, just because the urgency is on. We already know what the Milwaukee Bucks situation is, but for Golden State, they came in, and I'm one of those people that never really thought that the championship expectations were there, but more so to be more competitive in the West.
Right.
The league is getting younger as they are getting older. They are the second oldest team by usage in basketball, and so if you're going to try to salvage what you can of Steph Curry, you need to be able to infuse some type of energy around him. And I feel like they have more hope at doing this now, which means there's more pressure on them.
Is there any, I'm still trying to figure out what has gone so wrong in these first 35, 37, wherever at games for the Golden State Warriors. There was so much excitement the way they ended the season last year. Is it just the 5-month offseason aged players that much?
No, everyone has failed Steph in this organization. We're talking about an all-time great.
You said failed Steph.
Yes, and I'm talking about Steve Kerr, Draymond Green, Jimmy Butler, like, they can't get right. This man is averaging 28 points on 47% shooting right now, damn near 40% from the three, and y'all can't get right. We're talking about a window where he's trying to max out, meaning to go win a championship. You didn't trade for Jimmy Butler last year just to come in and sign him to extension to be number 8 in the Western Conference. And then what's up with your player development? Why can't Moses Moody and Jonathan Kuminga thrive under Steve Kerr? They are failing Steph Curry to the max right now.
I hear all that. I agree with all that. There's more pressure on the Milwaukee Bucks. This is about the Warriors trying to get the final chapter of Steph's career right. This is about the Bucks trying to make sure Giannis' story continues in Milwaukee. There's hope to get it right under Steph. There's heat on the Bucks because Giannis over and over and over again has made sure that the franchise feels that pressure. And it's not necessarily move me now, but it's at a certain point he's going to reach that threshold if they aren't able to upgrade and make him feel like he has a legitimate chance to continue contending with the Bucks.
I'm with Tim here. I think, Golden State is probably one and a half pieces away from being like a serious team. Milwaukee, they're a couple pieces away. And their superstars, thinking about walking out the door, you're in no danger of losing Steph Curry in the near future right now, I don't think.
Well, it don't seem like you're in danger of losing Giannis Antetokounmpo either because he ain't going to say a damn thing.
Well,
he ain't going to tell them.
It does seem like both of these teams right now are at a crossroads. I don't know if either one is going to take either fork. It seems like everyone's just sitting squarely in the middle, but hopefully we get a...
Welcome to Warriors Nation News. We're diving into one of the biggest trade storylines heating up in the NBA. A potential blockbuster that would see the Golden State Warriors trade Jonathan Kuminga for Brooklyn Nets star Michael Porter Jr. This isn't just a rumor tossed around by fans on Reddit or casual commentators on Twitter. This is a trade scenario being discussed by real NBA insiders and front office analysts as the Warriors approach a pivotal moment in their season. Let's set the stage. The Warriors sit at an inflection point in 2025-26. Stephen Curry is still playing at an elite level, delivering his usual vintage shot-making and leadership. Draymond Green remains a defensive anchor and emotional engine, and Jimmy Butler has given instant credibility to this lineup. But the supporting cast, it hasn't filled every gap the way we expected. The Warriors still lack a consistent third high-level scorer, and they've struggled to find wing firepower that can take pressure off Curry while seamlessly blending into Golden State's unique ball movement offense. That's why the idea of trading Kuminga for Michael Porter Jr. has gained traction as one of the more realistic and impactful upgrade options on the table. For months, the chatter has been that Jonathan Kuminga will likely be traded once he becomes eligible after January 15th. According to Clutch Point's Brett Siegel, Golden State's goal in trade discussions is clear: acquire a three-point shooting wing who can complement Curry and Butler on both ends of the floor. That has been the central theme in all Kuminga trade talk. Find someone who creates spacing, can be relied upon offensively, and helps shore up defensive assignments that have plagued the Dubs at times this season. Michael Porter Jr. is exactly the type of player the Warriors have been crying out for. This season in Brooklyn, Porter has been one of the league's most efficient high-volume scorers, averaging around 25.8 points per game while shooting nearly 50% from the field and 41% from three. That's the kind of offensive production that can immediately elevate Golden State from a team overly reliant on Curry and Butler into a true three-headed scoring force. Now, let's talk fit. Warriors fans know that Steve Kerr's system demands players who can space the floor, move without the ball, and knock down open looks at a high rate. Porter's shooting profile fits beautifully into what Golden State's offense has lacked since the Splash Brothers days: a reliable second or third option who doesn't need the ball in his hands every possession, but who can punish defenses when they overhelp on Curry. In fact, many analysts have pointed out that playing alongside Curry could make Porter even more efficient because defenses will be forced to respect Curry's gravity, leaving more clean looks for someone like Porter. The trade math makes sense too. Kuminga's contract this season sits at roughly $22.5 million, and Porter's salary this year is about $38.3 million. That means the Warriors would likely need to include additional pieces, such as Buddy Hield or Moses Moody, to match salaries and create an enticing package for the Nets. Rumors have already circulated about Warriors trade package ideas that could send Kuminga, Moody, plus draft assets in exchange for Porter Jr. and perhaps another role player like Keon Ellis. Now, let's take an honest look at the Nets side. The Ents aren't currently desperate to move Porter, and they don't necessarily view Kuminga as a direct fit for their roster. That's one of the biggest hurdles for this deal. But the reality is that Porter's contract is long and expensive, and the Nets may eventually see value in resetting with young assets and draft capital rather than paying a max-level salary on a team that's still rebuilding around middle-tier talent. That could open the door for Golden State to swoop in with a package that balances youth, draft assets, and role players in exchange for a high-impact score. Now, let's address the elephant in the room. Will Michael Porter Jr. fit in Golden State? Critics will quickly point to misfits, like when the Warriors traded for Dennis Schroeder only to see the fit unravel, or when high-usage players struggled in a motion offense. But Porter Jr. is a fundamentally different player. He doesn't need to create everything off the dribble, he shoots efficiently, he moves well without the ball, and he can play off Curry's screens and cutters in ways that few wings in the league can. That's exactly the type of talent Golden State lacks right now. A creatable, explosive, high-efficiency scorer. Statistically, Porter's put up numbers that few wings outside of the top tier can match this season, and his presence would immediately give the Warriors a dimension that opponents would have to honor. Populated with Curry's gravity, Butler's two-way intensity, and now Porter's shooting and scoring versatility, you're suddenly looking at a lineup that could really challenge the elite defenses of the league. And yes, the defensive concerns sometimes raised about Porter are real. He's not a lockdown defender, and that's something Golden State would have to navigate strategically. But the Warriors have defenders like Draymond and possibly Pat Spencer or Will Richard who can absorb some perimeter defensive responsibility, while Porter's offensive contribution would offset any defensive liability by forcing rotations and generating extra possessions. Contrast this with the status quo. A Warriors wing rotation that has been inconsistent this season, one that hasn't provided enough spacing or reliable third scoring in crunch time. The NBA is a league where the little margins often decide titles, and this would be a move that changes the margin in Golden State's favor. Also, let's not forget that this trade fits a broader strategic timeline. Stephen Curry is still playing at an MVP-level pace, but he won't play at this elite level forever. Golden State's window to add meaningful pieces around him and extend championship contention is now, not maybe later. Adding Porter, a 27-year-old in his prime, would signal to the rest of the league that the Warriors are still aggressive, still aiming for championships, and still unwilling to settle for mediocrity. Of course, nothing about this trade is guaranteed. Nets ownership may hold out for a higher price, or the Warriors front office might decide other targets like Trey Murphy III or Herb Jones better fit their long-term vision. But among the names discussed, Porter stands out as the one that could genuinely shift Golden State's trajectory if the Warriors can make the pieces work. At the end of the day, this potential Kuminga for Porter deal is about maximizing championship opportunities, not just tweaking around the edges. It's about recognizing that Curry has more great basketball left, but he needs help the right way. And that means acquiring a player who can score at an all-star level, stretch the defense, and keep opponents honest. Now, I want to hear from you, Warriors Nation. Do you think trading Kuminga for Michael Porter Jr. is the bold move the Warriors need to reclaim title contention? Is this the turning point that could elevate Golden State back into elite status? Drop your thoughts in the comments, smash that like button if you believe this move would make the Warriors true contenders again, and if you haven't already, hit subscribe for the latest updates on all Warriors trade whispers and breaking news right here on Warriors Nation News. Let's go!